Well, Hillary Clinton has finally figured out why she isn't the president-elect tonight. Clinton told a group of supporters recently that the reason she lost the election is simple. FBI Director James Comey. She says that Comey's letter to Congress, which he dropped 11 days before the election, thrust her own email controversy back into the news, which of course it did. But did it swing the election for Trump? Here to tell us, or to debate it anyway, is Chuck Rocha. He's a former advisor to the Bernie Sanders campaign and an all-around savant on politics. So, Chuck, you know, I wouldn't discount the possibility this has had a role, though I've talked to some of the data people around Hillary, and they don't think it was definitive. But is it really bigger than her failure to, I don't know, articulate a campaign message, run on something? Right. I mean, really?
Well, we both know, your viewers know, I ran a campaign against her for a year. I can tell you lots of things that are out there, reasons why Hillary might not have gotten elected. But let's just look at this one issue, because I dug into it a little bit this evening. And if you just look at the Michigan numbers and the Pennsylvania numbers, saying that if she won Pennsylvania, if she won Wisconsin and Michigan, she would be the president in Pennsylvania. It comes down to less than one vote per precinct. So in my mind of thinking back, is it one person per precinct who would have been affected or could have been affected by it? I'm going to say that it could have been. Right. Just because if you look at the numbers that came in a place like Washington State, it's an all-mail state. All of the ballots are mailed in. And before the Comey letter, Democrats were winning by 4 points. Everything after that was postmarked after the Comey letter, they continued to gain to where Republicans actually picked up House seats in Washington State, a very liberal place. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't have any raw data, but that's
you know, I don't think that's crazy. I'm not saying that's crazy, actually. I mean, but another way to look at it would be the more you learn about Hillary Clinton, the less impressed you are.
Right. And somebody has to say, well, guess what? Hillary Clinton and her team are not blaming themselves. They're going to blame somebody. That may be shocking.
That's it right there. I guess that's it. Is we all revert to type in the end, especially under pressure. Right. And their decades-long habit is to blame someone else, whether it's staff or the media, or in this case, the FBI director, instead of looking within and saying, you know, how did I screw up, like normal people do when they lose, right?
As a Democrat who's been running campaigns for 25 years, the shocker to most people in our profession is that it was this close to begin with, where the Comey letter would have had a little bit of an effect, but that little bit of effect was probably enough to lose her the election. It was only 70 votes between Michigan and Pennsylvania, so it probably had a devastating effect, but the fact is, somebody that had 30 years of experience who had a great resume was that close to begin with. That's what drives Democrats absolutely nuts.
Well, so Bernie Sanders, who kind of has been an obedient little revolutionary for the past 6 months campaigning for Hillary, betraying the hopes of his followers, I would add, but he had this on The View of all places, which I thought was pretty smart. He said, I think what happened is Trump touched a nerve on the part of millions of people the media doesn't talk about. You've got a middle class that for the last 40 years has been shrinking. You've got millions of people living in poverty and economic anxiety. Meanwhile, the rich get richer, in effect, he says. That's true. Absolutely. I grew up in rural East Texas. We've had these conversations talking about the little place I grew up with in Brownsboro, Texas. The people that go to work there every day feel those frustrations. They're not bigots. They're not racist. They are just angry because they feel like their government's not speaking to them. That's the reason I became a Democrat. It's because I worked in a factory. I thought that the rich guys got all the breaks. That's what I wanted. That was my party. Guess who had that message this year? Guess who the Democrats that steal that message and all he talked about was making America great again. But I don't want to blow your mind or anything, Chuck, but the Democratic Party is the party of rich people. Look at the exit polling. Rich people, people making over 400 grand, voted Democrat by a margin. Absolutely. And that's where the why wouldn't they represent their interests? I mean, that makes sense, right? So we need to reset the way that we talk about this and figure out a way to get to those people who have been hurting, who Bernie Sanders was absolutely talking about. When I was involved in that race for a year, the people that filled our halls every night were those people who were frustrated, who thought because at least Bernie Sanders was consistent. They may not agree with everything that he's ever said, but he was consistent. They believed that they trusted him, he would make it better. You're right. Chuck Rocha, great to see you. Thank you. Congratulations on the show. Thank you very much.